Reverse ETFs with volume bars. I basically do volume trading, um, and my program looks at the volume bars down here, and based on volume bars, it makes blue triangles for high volume or black triangles for medium volumes, or if they if it has like low volume, it does this no triangles. And when you look at, for example, this blue triangle here, and below here, this is the volume pane or whatever it's called, the volume section, and all programs have just about every type of program that exists has these volume things. When you use these volume things, make sure that you're not playing volume average. Um, Anyways, that's an important thing to notice. But so for example, you have this blue triangle, and then down here you have a red triangle. Um, I'm not sorry, a big huge volume bar is what I'm saying. Big huge volume bar and this blue one here. Um, but sometimes you'll have this here. Well, I guess it corresponds pretty good. Whenever you see the blue, it's a fairly large a fairly large volume there down here. Um, but you can get added added information. I just realized by looking at these volume bars. Now, as an example, if they talk about price action, everybody talks about price action, okay? And there's a lot of the aspects of price action. So this is the price over here, and then here's the candles, right? So price action is when, I mean, obviously, like if the price is going up, the candles are going up. Um, and there's lots of facets. Like if you get big, huge bars at the bottom, like a big red bar and a big green bar, then you're at a valley. So like this isn't a really big green bar, but this is a big red bar. So it's not totally clear. Again, this is a big green bar, but then you have a small green bar. So that would not be price action to find a peak. You know that this is whatever. So but I want to talk about volume instead of price action. Talked about volume action. So some stuff that's not readily available is that like here's a big red volume, and here's a medium green volume, and so that is an indicator of a big valley, right? Um, so it's similar. You have big red bars, and a big green bar. Again, a big valley. Now, if it's reverse, in other words, a green comes first, a big green bar, and a big red bar, then that would be a peak, right? So I got these labels: big valley, big valley. I don't have a big valley here because the candles or these bars here are like medium, but of course it's still more significant than like say, something like this. Here's a red and a green. They're kind of small minutiae. So you got the small ones, which are pretty much insignificant. You got the huge ones, red green, which are very significant, and then you got like the medium ones, kind of like the three bears. Um, Baby bear would be like red green here, small dudes. Mama bear here, and then big daddy bear would be these big huge bars. So then you have these medium sized candles, and so you can see how you have the black ones here. So there is kind of what I'm trying to say is how these volume bars relate to here. But what it does do is when you look at, so for a long time I didn't feel like this was very helpful to look at volume bars, but I started noticing now that when you have this type of situation where you have a big red and a big green, that indicates a valley, and you wouldn't get that from just looking at blue, black. And so what I really should do is maybe change my program so to help indicate better the relative size of these bars. So if you have red black, it's a valley. If you have green red, it's a peak. That makes sense. Another thing that pretty much everybody knows about is when you go into a situation where you're at low volume, that means a couple things: people aren't trading, so you probably shouldn't trade either. Second thing is why is it low volume? Why aren't people trading? Um, and one reason that people aren't trading is because there's uncertainty. You know, that they're not sure whether to enter it or exit it or what. And so when you see low volume, you should plain old wait, very low volume. So how do you define low volume? I mean, to some extent, it's relative. Like, I mean, you can see the size of these little dudes here. They're very small, right? And the other thing is, it's like how much shares are you trading, right? I mean, are you trading? If you're trading like 500 to 1,000 shares, and this volume here is roughly less than 2,000 shares, well, that's significant. I mean, if you're trading 1,000 shares, they would say you might not get out of that. I mean, when you're actually trading real time and you see low volume, it's like, crap, I might not be able to sell my shares because no one wants to buy them. So those are reasons when you see low volume, wait. Okay, so now the question is, how do you know whether to get out of a trade or into a trade? After the wait is over. So like over here, it's low volume, and all of a sudden you can see the volume start picking up. So how do you know which direction the price is going to go? Well, you can see over here that this is a red bar, and this doesn't automatically mean it's a valley. So how do you tell it's a valley? Well, again, you're over here waiting, and so you can go up and look at the price. And so the price for this bar right here, you can see it's gone down, and it's right around here. So this point right here, this red bar here, the red volume bar, corresponds to right here, and you can see that that's a valley. Okay, so that's a valley right there. So I wrote down valley. Red bar in this case means valley. Now, if we wait to the next big bar that happens, it's also a red bar. So you would think that, and it does mean that that's a valley. So I wrote down here a huge spikes on after congestion. It's a valley. People are exiting the shorts, and that means, I always used to say exit short, enter long. So here they're exiting the short, which means on this next candle you should enter a long. And so I put the price here, the time here, at 9:04, because remember what we're doing is these reverse ETFs, right? So I'll show the reverse ETF in a second, but first I want to show you the valley. So if we look at again, here's that red bar. Just to make sure that that's a valley. In this case, we come up here and we look at this. Well, you know what? You can't tell that that's a valley, can you? It looks like it's going sideways. But if you kind of cheat a little bit and look at this over here, it's going up. But when you're trading, you can't cheat. You can't I cheat ahead, I'm going to look up, and then based on what it's going to be in the future, buy. So right here, you don't know that it's, if you're just looking at right over here, you don't know that it's a valley or peak, right? Wait. I got to zoom in. Yeah, so you see these blue triangles, right? That means it's high volume. But here's a green candle with blue, and it goes sideways. Here's a red candle with blue, and it goes sideways. So the color of the candle in relation to the blue triangles doesn't tell you a whole lot. And so just looking at it, you couldn't tell if it's going to go up or not. But if you look at the volume spike down here, that tells you it's a valley. In other words, it's at a low point. So at this point right here, that's telling you you're at a low point or valley. So that right there is a valley. This is a great time to enter, because no longer you're at a low volume. You started high volume back up, and this is at a valley or low point, and it's going to start taking up. And if we actually look at here's the same thing on the chart. If we zoom forward, you can see it. You keep on going time, it takes off. So though that was really nice to predict what was going to happen, that it was going to go up. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, if you have a lone red candle all by itself, you can't just look at the volume bars, because if you look at a lone red candle all by itself, you can't tell if it's a valley or a peak. So in this case, if you knew you're on a downtrend and a sub-red bar, then that might tell you something. So like it's going down. The problem is it's congestion right here, so you can't just always say if you see red bar, it's a valley. You can't do that. You have to take in consideration things like if it's either congestion, or if it's not congestion, is it an uptrend or a downtrend? Does that make sense? So now we're looking at lab view, and now we want to compare it to the reverse ETF called lab D. I think of D as down and U as up, but what it really means is that they're reverse. One is a U and the other one's a reverse of U, or down, which is down, the D. Does it make sense? Okay. So here's, if you look at time scale, this one goes from 7:15 to 9:10, and then over on this side it goes from 7:15 to 9:10. So we're looking at the same time frame, and so what we're trying to do is do long trades, because reverse ETFs is harder to do shorts. So we're trying to figure out when to go up. Okay, and so if you look at the two charts, so if we start over here at lab D, and you can see it goes down. The only time, there's only a couple times that we can make an up trade, a long trade. From here's could be one, and here could be one, or you could have gone there and then there. So during this time window where we're looking at, it's two possible trades to go up. Now if we look over at lab U on this side, you can see there's one long, really beautiful trend to go up. We can do that one, and then there's this one here. It's a short one, and then trying to get one over here to catch this long up, which we saw was really going up. It's a big one. So basically the way this section works is you got a long up, it goes sideways for a long time, and then it goes up again. On the lab D side, it goes down sideways, it goes down. But what I want to show you is that you can actually make money here. I mean, this is like so let's go back at the stock trade lab D, and I'll maximize it so we can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to put the cursor here so we can actually see the value. So look on the right hand side over here, it's 22.94. If you look at okay, the bottom of this blue bar here is 22.93 or 4, and the top of this is 23.07. So you've made, that's 14 cents, which is about, since it's a $23 stock, it's about 0.5%. That's significant. So if you're trading 1,000 shares and you made 14 cents, you would have made $140 from here to there. And now on this one over here, if you're trading again 1,000 shares, and it goes from this price at the low is $22.95, and it goes up here till we exit, it's $23.16, so it's 21 cents. So that's about a 1% gain. 5 to 7, 16 or 17. So let's just say 20 cents gain. So if you did 1,000 shares of this stock, you would make $200. So in a matter of from 8:03 to in half an hour, you'd have made roughly $350 in a half an hour. That's pretty cool. So we say, well, how do you know when to get in? You know, it's like get in here, get out there, get in here, and get out there. So what I did was, you see these little signs here. It says this is a valley according to LabU, and I give the time 8:02, and I say this is a peak according to LabU at 8:07. So what the idea is, LabU says that this is a valley, so that means the next. Okay, so we're looking at LabD first of all. We're looking at LabD. So the reverse stock LabU says that there's a valley at 8:02. So that means we say, aha, it's a valley. It's going to start going up. So the very next minute, we can get in right there, right? And then it starts going up. And how do we know how to get out here? Because LabU at 8:07 says it's a peak. So it means we get out the next candle there. And so that's how we made our 0.5%. Now on this one, LabU, again, we're looking at LabD, the screen here, but LabU, the reverse stock, reverse ETF, says that there is a valley at 8:10. So we get the next minute, which is 8:11, in this candle somewhere. And then the price starts going up, and then it drops, and we're like, oh crap, we're gonna lose money. But then it goes back up again, and at 8:28, LabU here says, hey, it's gonna be a peak. So then the next minute, which is this red candle right there, we exit, so we make 1%. So what I want to talk to you about was this little value right here. Like I said, we're starting to get worried. Well, first of all, we have my standard stop loss is 0.5% stop, and a lot of times I'll move the stop up, right, as we go, and then if it drops back down, it hits it, and I can make, instead of losing money, I can make money or whatever. I can make money or just maybe break even in case it changes direction. But if I move the stop loss off too high, I wouldn't have had a chance. Would have maybe stopped out here, and I would have broken even. So it would have been okay to break even. It's always okay to break even. If I would have, but it didn't come down below this line, and you say, well, I lucked out. Well, in this strategy, it's not really luck, because if you look at the volume bars down here, I have a red. Everything's kind of low. It's all kind of low, right? I mean, it's relatively speaking. And if you're looking up here, you'd see a blue volume, and you say blue volume triangle. Oh crap! What's gonna happen? Is this gonna keep on going down, or is it gonna come back up? But if you look down here on the volume bar, it is a large. It's a large bar compared to the ones before it, right? And relatively large if you just look over here. But in the big picture, you can see that these are really the large ones here, 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 and that this bar here is small in the scheme of things. So when this thing started reversing, right? You could, there's enough time to get out, and then when you saw this blue triangle, at that point the minute's over. When the blue triangle won't appear until it's over, and so somewhere over here, and you have a chance to look back and say, okay, don't panic. That dude is large compared to the few before it, large compared to the 20 before it, but it's not one of these big volume spikes where we make decisions. Make sense? So that's how you do it. Now, there's another strategy I have where I make these horizontal bands coming across like this. And one thing you could have done is when this line come up here and then it drops back down, you could get out because it's in this horizontal band. So this strategy kind of looks at these horizontal bands. Horizontal bands are based on previous blue triangles, like here and here. So there's blue triangle. So you draw the band across. Anyways, so I'm really excited about this. I think that's about everything. You notice here I have on the right side, the LabVIEW side, I have lots of notes. So like during this uptrend here, going up like this. If you look at this big green bar here, it's a big green bar, and it's not. There's no red bar on either side as far, significant red bar. It's just kind of a lone or green bar. What this means, since we're on uptrend, you got a lone green bar with no reds on big reds on either side of it. It's just people are buying into it, and then the price is going to go up. Now we get another green bar, and so it's another buy. I call it a buy up. And now we're coming along, and we see a red bar, and obviously it means people are selling some stocks, but it's a relatively, compared to these big green spikes, it's relatively small. And if you look at on either side, there's small green bars. So I call it this a fake valley. If you had a red one and a green one that were both medium size, that would be a real valley. So the one you have to be concerned about is this next one, which you have a medium sized red and green. So that is a real valley. And if we look up here, we're at this section about right there. So that is kind of concern. That this might be a reversal. So if we're doing this uptrend, we'd have to be a little bit concerned. We're not as concerned because we didn't have a big. See how big this one is here? This is another buy up, so our concern isn't as big because of these things. Now, the other thing that we could do is double check because remember these are reverse stocks, and so we're looking at LabU. So let's look at LabD during the time here around 7:45. Around 7:45, what happened on the reverse stock? So we jump over to our LabD, right? And at 7:45, we have this red. I think a bar here says sell down. So this stock, this volume bar here, is basically saying sell down. You remember how the green bars on this side, the green one said buy up? Well, the red ones mean sell down. And sure enough, the stock is going down. Well, if it's a sell down here at 7:45, the reverse stock is going to be a buy up. So 7:45, according to LabD, means that LabU will buy up at 7:45. So we have LabD saying that LabU is going to go up, but LabU says there's a valley. So we have a conflicting report, and what this means is this valley isn't it's not like a sure thing valley. There's some evidence against it. We don't have any confirmation of the valley, and these volume bars are like medium-sized volume bars. They're not huge compared to this buy-up ones. So what that means is we should probably stick in the trade and not exit out. So we're going. The next one is a buy-up, big buy-up, green bar. Then we have some fake valleys because you have reds, we got small greens, and then we have another big buy up, and then we have a medium-sized valley again, just like the last one here. So if we look up here, again we have cause for concern. It's kind of going sideways, and so if we look 8 o'clock, so a little bit before 8 o'clock, like 7:50, 7:58. Let's look at LabD to see if we can see anything at 7:58 roughly. And so over here, it's the time frame here, 7:58. It's small candles. So 7:56 is a down here, which means up's there. So there we go. 7:56, corresponding to right there. So 7:56 over here on the LabD says down, which means that 7:56 on the LabU should be up. So 7:56 here is up according to Lab D. 755 according to Lab U is up. So we have two ups in a row, and then this one says a valley. So it's, and we have this starting to go sideways. The next one we have is a green. The next one we have is a red. So this is definitely a peak indicator, green and a red. They are medium sizes, but this peak symbol, green and red, are preceded by a legitimate valley. So basically we're having like these 4 medium bars in a row, all indicating things are probably going to go down. If we look up here during this time frame, you notice all these candles are ending here like a flat bottom. Like it keeps on trying to break through and trying to break down. So the intent is to go down, and so when you see this green and red here, it's the peak sign. It's probably best to get out. We've had a long uphill run, so let's just get out. And so we want to get out 803, which is right there, which is like really near the peak. So we're really happy we can get out. So if this is a peak up here, that means over here it should be a valley at 803. And sure enough, it's at a valley. So this is a good time to get in on this deal. So if you look at what happened, is like we did a long trade here, we got out, then we did a short trade, and then it got out of that and did a short trade, 833. Then we waited from 833 to this bar, this big huge bar over here, which is 905. And so we got in for that trade at 904. So we had, and in conclusion, we had like 3 trades, 1, 2, 3, and then we wait 3 trades in an hour. Then we waited a half hour. Then we got on I'll show you how this a long uphill trend gained to there. So, okay, so this would have been the peak up there, right there, and it would have been something like from 41.86 to 40. So that's like a dollar. Boy, that would be cool if we got that one. So if we look at the volume down here, which I haven't marked up, we see all green candles, tall candles going up, except for this one right here, green, red. That's our, this would be our peak sign right there. Let me put a, whoop, sorry, that is our peak. So that's at 939. So if we go up here at 939, that's telling us it's a good peak indication, as any. This would have been a valley, which if you're at a valley, I'll put it there, highlight this, red, green, that's a valley, which means it's going to start going up again. And so this is its value, which really means it's a low point, and then it jumps up. And then also notice down here, you're at a relatively low volume again. So if we put a line here, from here to there, you're at relatively low volume. So the color codes are interesting. See that this is a green bar, and obviously it's at a peak. So now you know that green bar here means peak, which means this red bar here I don't know, I guess it should be a valley, which means it would go back up again. But I think the issue is here, what you have now is another, whoop. Okay, so I'm learning a little bit. So you have a green red a green red at the end of this long valley congestion. So green red means you are at a peak and it's going to head down. On this one, you had a red green. Red green means it's going to go back. It's going to go up. And on this one, it's all you had was a big old red one. On your greens on your side are small, so you can't really use those. But we know up here that it's a valley. So on this one right here, what makes it a valley is it went red, green. So really this is a low spot, red, green, low spot, and it goes back up. So anyways, we would have probably got out based on this one right here. Plus, you notice that it's we got this flat line thing here going on again, right? It's going boom, 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 trying to get down. Anyways, it's made a nice run up and then started going sideways. And so what you're trying to do is, when it starts going sideways, at some point you want to try to get out, and that's what these things are helpful for. This red-green means you're at a valley, your low spot is going to go up, so you wouldn't get out there. These greens on a uptrend means people are buying in. The first and only indication to get out is green and red. That's, you're at a peak. When you get over here, you see two, greens, a couple greens and a couple reds, mediums. That would also be a peak. So you have a second chance to get out over here. And then this means it's going to go down, and sure enough, it goes down. So we can look at a little bit more. So again, we have low congestion. I don't know if does it ever get above that. So we're getting into areas of low congestion and with some spikes going on. So but this one says green red, so it means it's going to start going down a little bit. And if we zoom in here, maybe it might look better. Green red going down, and right here it starts going back up again. That's at 1022. What's the sign to go up? And so if we come over here, look at 1022. Sure enough, okay. So Lab D has a big spike at 1022. And over here at 1022, it's a valley, and it stays in the valley till about 1029. So from 1022 to 1029, we're in the valley. Let's go look at Lab D. 1022 to, well, what happens at 1031 and 1032, we get two big red ones that are say we're on our way down. So anyways, I guess that's our best indicator that we're on our way down from Lab D. So going down on Lab D means you're going up on Lab U. 1030, 1031. You should have got in. If you would have waited to 1031, you could have still got up here. Been better to get down there. You can see that here. There's a candle. The next candle jumps up. That's another sign it's jumping up. So I'm sorry. So you'll get a better idea of these candles. So you can kind of see how when you're dealing with lower volume stuff, it's a little bit harder to deal with. It just seems like from here to there, it's low volume, and would probably be worth studying another time.